topic that I have chosen to speak about today is related to what has gone by, which is the timeless legacy of Adi Shankaracharya on this Shankara Jayanti 2022. Whether one is working in Silicon Valley or is a hunter in Masai Mara in Africa, we are similar. All of us have a need to belong and also a need to be independent. Earlier, much of our identity and pride came from what we belonged to. Our family, our gotra, our matha, our region, our ways of living, our culture, the teachings of the sampradaya we belong to, and our connections with people in high places. Don't think politicians only, okay? Devatas I am referring to. Nowadays, our links to our families, mathas, our culture has weakened. And no wonder we have problems with our self-esteem and we struggle with our identity because we are not connected to the legacy that we have inherited. We seek identity, meaning and connection through WhatsApp groups, our LinkedIn connections, networks, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Not to mention Twitter. And despite having connections and friends, we struggle with both the need to belong and the need to be free. So what does this life observation have to do with Adi Shankaracharya? I would think that this tradition of Advaita Vedanta is the only tradition where one can have a very strong identity based on the legacy that one has inherited, and at the same time one can be free of all identities. How so? Well, amongst all that Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya has blessed us with, I'll share just 5 of his legacies. So we have been blessed with the legacy of Shruti as a pramana. Shankaracharya has helped us see that the Vedas were revealed by Bhagavan and therefore have their own validity. Just like our eyes do not need validation from the ears to be valid means of knowledge, so too the Shruti, the Veda, does not need confirmation or validation from perception or other pramanas. Shankara is Shruti, Smriti, Purana Nam Alayam. So as the abode of all these three, Shankara helped us see the vision of oneness through the Shruti by showing us that it is a means of knowledge, a pramana, self-valid, and by that he also invoked Shraddha in us. The second legacy he has blessed us with is of worship and devotion. Many of the compositions that were composed by him at least more than 1200 years ago are still sung in different homes. To this day we chant Shri Ganesha Pancharatnam, Ganesha Bhujangam, Shiva Panchakshara Stotram, which you will hear in some time, Dakshinamurti Stotram, which we just heard, Vishnu Shatpadi Stotram, Lalita Pancharatnam, Nirvana Shatakam, Saundarya Lahiri, Subramanya Bhujangam, and so on. He also integrated what was earlier exclusive worship into the Panchayatana Puja and all-inclusive worship, and by that united and created a greater sense of cohesiveness amongst people living in Bharat. So the worship to Ganesha, Shiva, Vishnu, Devi, Surya and Skanda. And he recognized that this Eka Rupa Bhakti, devotion to one form, will definitely expand into Aneka Rupa Bhakti, by which we are able to have devotion towards all the forms, that is this Jagat, which will then culminate into Arupa Bhakti, or rather Jnanam. Shankaracharya blessed us with a legacy of debate. He was not afraid of dissent. With great courage and audacity, he engaged with his contemporaries with mutual respect. through his travels from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. All of this only in 32 years. He debated with his contemporaries who were the Mimamsakas, the Buddhists, the Sankhyas, and so on. And what is very unique, which is something we can learn from, is that his understanding of the different darshanas was so deep that he could identify gaps in their own paradigms and establish the vision of oneness again and again. Then the legacy of peethams, or rather institutionalization. He helped to organize the sannyasis into 10 groups. So Giri, Puri, Bharati, Vana, Aranya, Sagara, Ashrama, Saraswati, the order to which we belong, Tirtha and Parvat. He appointed 4 disciples to run the Shankaracharya Peetham, centers of learning in 4 corners of India, and to this day the mathas are active for loka-sangraha. He blessed us with a legacy of reality. Pujya Swamiji would say, sanity is being in touch with reality. And much of our suffering is because we believe that our minds and bodies are absolutely real. Through the Adhyasa Bhashya, the introduction to the Brahma Sutras, we are able to see that our problems are really an adhyasa, a projection, a superimposition on the formless reality that is Brahman, that is me. And so this perspective of Paramarthika Satyam, absolute reality, pervading Vyavaharika Satyam, functional reality, and Pratibhasika Satyam, subjective reality, can truly put an end to our sorrow. For example, I am sad because I believe I am not good enough. This would be Pratibhasika Satyam, my subjective reality. I am sad, and sadness is a part of psychological order, that is Ishvara. Vyavaharika Satyam, functional reality. And Paramarthika Satyam is the absolute reality, that is me, that is in and through all names and forms, including my thoughts. He blessed us with a legacy of clarity. Through his bhashya, he crystallized the teaching tradition from the sadhana chatushtaya, the readiness of the knowledge, to the knowledge itself, to the method of teaching, including adhyaropa apavada, negation of superimposition, and how Vedanta is to be understood. All apparent contradictions were resolved. Manasa eva drashtavyam, through the mind alone one can see the truth. Yato vacho nivartante aprāpya manasa saha. The words along with the mind don't reach Brahman. How does one resolve this apparent contradiction? Shankara, with his blazing clarity, helped us see the vision of oneness. And while he commented on the different Upanishads, the Gita, the Brahma Sutras, which are all voluminous bhashyas, he also wrote prakarana granthas. And if that is too much for you, well, we also have what he composed as Ekashloki. So I will just share that, and maybe we can conclude with seeing his clarity on this one shloka. That's his genius. So this is a dialogue between the Guru and the Shishya. It's called Ekashloki. Kim jyotistavabhānumānahani me rātrau pradīpādikaṃ syādevaṃ ravidīpadarśanavidhau kim jyotirākhyāhi me chakshustasya nimīlanādi samaye kim dhīrdhiyo darshane kim tatrahamato bhavan paramakam jyotistadasmi prabho. Jyotistadasmi prabho. So Ekashloki, beautifully he expresses the dialogue between the teacher and the student. This has a reflection in the teaching of sage Yajnavalkya to Janaka also. The teacher, the Guru, simply asks, Kim Jyotihi, what is the light for you? How do you see? And the Shishya says, well, during the day, the sun is the light, and in the night, the lamps are the light for me. Syādevaṃ. Okay, all right. Then, what is the light that makes you see both the sun and the lamps? The Shishya says, my eyes. The Guru continues, what is that light when you close your eyes? Chakshuhu nimilanadi samaye. When your eyes are closed, how do you see? Oh, well, it is dhihi. It is the intellect, it's the mind. Guru persists, what is that light that illumines the intellect? Dhihi. And the Shishya says, aham. It is me. And the Guru endorses it and says, yes, indeed, Bhavan Paramakam Jyotihi, you are that ultimate light. And Shishya says, yes, Prabhu, I am that. So, very beautifully, in just one shloka, therefore called Ekashloki, reflecting the teaching of the Upanishads, particularly Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the section of Swayam Jyotihi Brahmana, this truth that you are that light which illumines everything, by which everything is known, everything becomes evident to you because you are self-evident as the Atma, and as that self-evident Atma, that which always exists, that which illumines all the transactions, all the roles, all the responsibilities, that which illumines all experiences, that light that is you, that is the Atma, is Anantam, never subject to any lack, never having any boundaries. It is Ananta. And so this Jyotihi, that is you, that is Svata Prakashaha, the Guru tells the Shishya and the Shishya understands. And that's really how millions of generations have been exposed to this truth, have seen it, and have passed it on. So this indeed is our legacy of blessing, a legacy that has been bestowed by Adi Shankaracharya, the legacy of Shruti as a pramana, the legacy of worship and devotion, the legacy of peethams, the legacy of debate, the legacy of reality, the legacy of clarity. And so we claim our legacy of belonging to this Advaita Vedanta Sampradaya, and at the same time recognize our true nature as that reality. Om Tat Sat.